Hello. Okay, I don't know where to begin, so I'm just gonna start talking and I hope that it makes sense. But I've been thinking about the theme of emotional safety a lot recently, and it really has to do with the fact that I made a new friend who mirrors emotional safety back to me, and it has completely changed the way that I operate in relationships now. She has become a compass of a standard that I am no longer willing to sacrifice, because this whole year I didn't realize that's what I was searching for. I was searching for someone, a friend, who was emotionally safe. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more about how important it is, to have people who are emotionally safe to talk to, but also what it does to your psyche when you don't have that. It's extremely damaging. And I think it's time we start talking about that. You know what I mean? I think it's time we start talking about that. So, this past year, I had talked about how I was going through this abandonment wound healing because of a breakup that completely shredded my heart. It was horrible. And the reason why is not because this person mirrored something about my family, but it was also because they were closely tied with friendships from my past that they had betrayed me. I had friends, I had this really horrible history with friends that did something really bad to me. And so I'm starting graduate school, first year, and I'm in a city that I don't know, and I'm not adjusting well to. And all of a sudden, now I have to heal all of this stuff all by myself. And I had made some friends, right? Some friends who, they're very sweet and they meant so well. They're very kind. However, they were not yet at the emotional depth that I myself have worked myself to. It was kind of hard for me to understand that at first, because for 5 years prior to graduate school, I had been working with kids with learning and developmental disabilities. And that environment, that kind of work, attracts other people who are emotionally safe. They're kind, they're present, they're understanding, they're tolerant and patient when it comes to emotions, because it's an emotionally taxing job and it requires an environment of support. And it had completely healed me in a lot of ways. To be pulled out of that, going into graduate school, new city, with people who do not have that history, training, they haven't built those skill sets yet. And I just didn't understand yet, because I was so sucked into survival mode at that point, where it was I just need someone. I just need someone to talk to. I need someone to listen to me. And I didn't realize, I really relied on my friends for that. I really relied on my community for that. And I was trying to do that again here. But I talked about this already, but when you come across someone who has not met themselves at the emotional depth that you have, your emotions can really overwhelm them, because they're like, whoa, what is that? That is a lot of emotion. And that's a lot, because they haven't met themselves at that depth. That's okay. Give them time. Hopefully they'll do the work to get there, but whatever. It's not your responsibility to do that for them. So I was hanging out with these people, these friends, I suppose, and I would open up vulnerably about these feelings that I was going through and these realizations that I was having. Because honestly, my love language is sharing things that I've learned. I am so interested in the mind, brain, behavior, consciousness. That is why I study what I study. I love it. I love it. And when I can realize things about myself And I'm like, oh my God, you'll never guess what I just discovered. I want to share it. However, that tends to be vulnerable, right? It tends to be vulnerable. And so when I was sharing these things with these new friends, the reactions that I would get, I could see how uncomfortable they were. I could see them turning their faces away from me. I could feel it in the environment of how uncomfortable it was. They didn't know how to respond to me. They didn't know what to say. I was clearly sharing too much to them. And it started to like really, really affect me. And I don't blame them for that. You know, everyone has a capacity. It's not their fault. If anything, I should have taken it as a sign sooner to be like, you know, these just aren't the friends to talk to. And that's that. That's okay. It didn't mean that I needed to dim myself. It didn't mean that I was too much. It didn't mean any of that about me either, actually. What it meant was that I was in friendships that were not equal. Because if they had a problem and they had come to me, I would absolutely be able to offer emotional presence. I would never make them feel uncomfortable for any emotions that they feel. Like that's a given for me. So they just weren't equal, right? However, because of this abandonment wound, I had a tendency of thinking that I'm the problem. I need to regulate my emotions more. I need to self-perfect. And I was blaming myself rather than realizing that these relationships were actually not giving back to me. And I kind of was viewing it from like structural differences. I was like, okay, like I'm used to working in environments that are very like therapy based, very like requires emotional presence and labor. And now I'm in academia, and it's a completely different environment, right? But the reality is that there are people in this environment that are emotionally safe. I just wasn't letting go of this group enough for me to see that. And honestly, like I was searching and searching, and I think that's just the reality of it. Finding people who are actually emotionally safe is quite difficult. However, I met a girl and she's so cool. She's so cool. And this has kind of like opened up a new realization for me of like, oh my God, she's an artist. And I'm like, oh my God, it's really these artists like that are they're so in tune. Like they're the sane ones, honestly. And so anyway, I met this girl and she mirrors back emotional safety for me. Like I remember the first day that I met her and I was having like again, going through a lot. And sometimes it just like comes out of me. Like I can't stop it. Like I just need to express myself. And I was like, I'm so sorry if that was a lot for you. And she's like, no, not at all. Like she knew, like I didn't even have to over explain myself to her. Like she just knew. She's like, you're not too much. Like, you know that Alice in Wonderland quote, like, you've lost your muchness, like you're not too much. And she said that to me on our first hangout date. Like what? It was such a stark contrast to what I had experienced before. She didn't turn her face away from me. She didn't make me feel uncomfortable for sharing anything vulnerable. Like she was just present. That was so odd to me. Like it was like, oh. I was like, oh, like I feel safe here. I feel okay. Like I don't feel crazy. But then that's what I started to realize. I'm like, these emotionally unsafe relationships were making me feel crazy. I had already had an environment where being emotional is okay. For 5 years, I was working in this environment where like, you know, people know how to deal with that kind of stuff. But just 1 year 1 year of surrounding myself with people who were not able to offer that shifted my mindset so much to the point where I thought that I was crazy. That was so damaging. That is so damaging to you. That is not okay. That is not okay at all. It is so important to have friends and people in your life that don't make you feel insane for feeling. It is so rare to find relationships like that. She is my first friendship like that in the city. And oh my gosh, I cherish her like no other. Like, oh my gosh, I would do anything for her. I'd do anything for her. She has very quickly become like one of my closest friends. This whole healing process has been expedited just because of her. Just because I have someone to talk to. Like, I have gotten to like a point where like we're hanging out and I just start crying because I'm like so devastated about all of these things that I'm unpacking in my life. And I don't really have anyone to talk to. And just her presence alone of just like being there with me and just like letting me cry, that alone has, I don't even know how to put it in words. And then the next morning I'll be like, hey girl, I'm so sorry, I got really emotional last night. And she's like, what are you apologizing for? What are you apologizing for? That is so okay. That is so wow. And so I realized after hanging out with her, and then I would put myself back in the other environment with these other friends, and I would feel like sick in my body, and I would end up leaving like my body would be like vibrating from how uncomfortable I was. Like I would share some stuff and they'd be like, okay, so anyway, like, okay, like that's fine. And I would try really hard. I would blame myself. I'd try really hard and be like, okay, like Denise, like these are just not the people you share with, like just learn, like there's people for this, like you have friends who are like for this environment and then you have friends who are like for this, you know, people say that. But truthfully, I am just an emotional person. This is who I am. This is who I am. This is what I talk about. This is what I like. This is what interests me. Like I am a deep person. I'm a deep person. And being with people like that is so damaging. Since meeting her and now realizing what it feels like to have friendships that are emotionally safe, I've been able to calm down my nervous system so much, but it's also led to new realizations about myself and how I operate in relationships because of these unsafe emotional relationships. So, for example, I was hanging out with this friend and her boyfriend, and they're the cutest couple ever. Like they're so sweet. And we were all out at a bar. We were just hanging out. We were all talking, and he says something about, he just says like, oh, as long as she's dating me, like I would never allow her to do that, blah, blah, blah. And immediately when he said that, I could see it in real time. His nervous system like lit up, and he was like, no, like, you don't understand, like this is not some controlling thing, like this is an agreement we've had, like this is for her health, like I'm not like that guy, you know what I mean? And like I was watching him and I was like, oh, that's so funny, like literally no one was thinking that. And I literally said that out loud. I was like, literally no one was thinking that, like you're fine, you know, like it's okay, you're fine, like no one was thinking that. And the reason that caught my attention so much is because it mirrored something back to me, these emotionally unsafe relationships that I had tolerated in the past. Mostly my family and the ones from college and the ones where I felt betrayed in. They were not emotionally safe in the sense where I couldn't trust them to emotionally regulate themselves in a way that wasn't like consistently critiquing and judging another person. Does that make sense? Like, the reason someone would act that way is because they probably grew up in an environment where they were consistently met with a rebuttal. They were consistently like met with an attack or a critique or a judgment, right? And so you're automatically bracing yourself. Like, you don't even have data from the environment that someone is thinking badly of you. Like, no one in that group reacted badly to what he said. It was he himself, who activated that automatically in his brain. Like, his brain was ready to be like, to defend, like, oh my God, I just said something that is gonna need me, I'm gonna need to defend myself. And that really mirrored something back to me where I'm like, oh my God, I'm literally the exact same way. I'm consistently bracing myself to be like judged and critiqued. That is so exhausting. That is so exhausting. And to see this and then to realize, I'm like, I don't feel that way around these people. I don't feel that way around my new friends. Like, that has completely like dissolved away. And the reason for that is because I trust them to emotionally regulate their own emotions to the point where they're not going to like think the worst of me. You know what I mean? Like, they see me, they trust me. I see them, I trust them. If they truly had something to say, they would say it to me, and they wouldn't attack me. They would say it in a very kind way, or they would joke about it and bring it to my awareness and allow me to reflect on it. Like I didn't know that existed. I didn't know that I could have that. That is so valuable. To not consistently feel like you need to defend yourself in friendships, it has completely dissolved any lingering ounce of social anxiety that I have. And they have become a new compass of what I'm no longer willing to sacrifice. I cannot tolerate friendships that are not at that standard anymore, because it feels so good to have that emotional safety and to not feel like an argument or an attack is gonna come up. Like, I didn't know, you know? I know that that's not gonna resonate with everyone, right? Like, there's people who were lucky enough to grow up in happy, healthy homes and were taught that by their parents. That's so lucky. But there's so many people as well, I refuse to believe that I'm the only one. I refuse. That grew up in opposite environments, you know? And they don't know that is real. Like, they don't realize how important that emotional safety is, right? You don't need to tolerate, you don't need to settle for friendships that aren't offering that to you. Along with that, I was scrolling through YouTube and I came across this video of Selena Gomez, actually. And she is a notoriously sensitive person. And me too, girl, me too. And I'm watching this video where she's clearly in distress about something. I'll insert the video. And she's clearly in distress. And she comes back to a room with people who are there to support her. Like, this is her team.
Probably going to devote most of my life to philanthropy.
Okay, that's good for me.
Wow, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Felt like you really understood. All right, are we good? Can I sit?
Yeah, honey. Come on, honey.
We're done.
Okay, we're gonna change.
Fucking dumbest thing I've ever
What
done.
happened?
I'm done. I can't do that anymore. That's so. Do you know how like cheap it makes me feel? Like, ugh. She's asking me questions, like good ones, and then she didn't even pay attention to what I was saying. I don't want to do that ever again. I feel like a product.
And instead of getting up and giving her a hug or validating her. There's silence in that room. There's silence in that room, and some of them are even turning their faces away, like, ooh, you know? You don't know what that does to people, because people understand behavior. You're a human being, you understand behavior. That is how you survive in this world. And when everyone in the room, like, you have this strong emotion, and everyone in the room turns away from you like, ooh, your brain is registering all of that data, and you're like, I'm the problem. Like, I am crazy. Like, I'm having an unreasonable reaction right now. I don't know if that's really how she was registering that situation. That's how I would have. And I know that she has, I think, BPD. Like, I absolutely would have, I don't have BPD, but I absolutely would have even interpreted that situation like that. Like, you don't even understand how damaging it is. Recently, I was feeling very overwhelmed about my project for grad school. And I was in the lab, and, you know, I was fully prepared to just, like, be ignored. But I was expressing how overwhelmed I was. And in that expression, I almost started to, like, get a little teary-eyed. I was like, I'm so stressed. Like, I'm dealing with so much. And on top of all of that, this project is giving me so many issues. And I started to get a little teary-eyed, and I was like, oh, like, okay, Denise, don't make everyone uncomfortable. Like, you're fine. Like, stop. And one person, like, in the silence, one person was like, oh my God, do you need a hug? And that was everything to me. And it was, like, almost kind of funny how I was almost gonna be like, no, it's like, I'm fine. Like, I was gonna, like, dismiss myself. And I was like kind of like doing that. And then I was like, yes, I would love a hug. And in accepting that hug, I was like, oh my gosh. It's so funny how I'm over here, like, thinking how important it is to have these emotional, safe relationships, and here I am denying it when it's right in front of my face. Because we're all really taught to, like, no, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. It's okay to not be fine. It's okay. It is okay. It's completely normal. It's a human reaction. I think a lot of us, and I've said this before, but it's easier to blame ourselves than to acknowledge that there was a mishandling of our vulnerability, especially by people we thought we could trust. And it's really important to be able to just accept that and be okay with the fact that there's actually nothing wrong with me. I'm a human being. I'm allowed to go through stuff, and I have emotions, and they're perfectly reasonable reactions to what I'm going through. Like, this is normal, okay? And the more that you deny that, the more you align yourself with people who mirror that back to you. But the more that you just, you know what, like, I am an emotional person, and I am going through stuff, and my emotions are valid, and they're real, and I'm experiencing them, and there's nothing wrong with that. The more that you stand in that, the more you're going to be more aligned with people who mirror that back to you. And if you're brave enough to do that, when you've been conditioned to not do that, feel how uncomfortable it is. You're going to, like, get reactions in your body. You're like, oh, why did I do that? But slowly but surely, you'll start to see that actually people prove to you that they're emotionally safe too. You're not the only one. Like, you're not crazy. There's people out there who have that already, who are emotionally safe, who are present, who don't make you feel like you're insane. But you have to embody it yourself first. I'm just so grateful, honestly, to have met this person. She's completely changed the way that I view relationships now. I was going through so much this year, so much. And just this one friend expedited everything that I was, like, it moved me out of, like, survival mode to just finally being able to, like, breathe, to just, like, integrate everything and not feel crazy and validate myself and understand things from a higher perspective. It is so, so valuable to have friends like that. You are not crazy for having emotions. You're not insane. So we just have to acknowledge that there are people who can mirror safety back to you, and there's people who are just not there yet, okay? But it's not a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of you. You're not insane for having emotions. Like, you're a human being, and that is okay. It's just their capacity. The value of that is immeasurable, honestly. It really is. The point is that I'm really grateful. And I guess that's it.